Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efene, the great Malabite. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. Yes, we'll start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. We'll start with the lead story. South Africa's president, Ramaphosa, Mourns Wigwe, says he was his country's continental partner. Diri, Oborowori, Peter Side, Chikobi, CIBN, others pay tribute to deceased. Wigwe University pledges to run with founder's vision. Access Holdings names Ms. Bolaji Agbede, acting CEO. Yes, tributes continue to pour in for the departed Herbert Wigwe, his wife, son, and Abimbola, who also passed away in that crash. But yesterday, the president of South Africa sent in his tribute from the South African country because Wigwe took Access Bank to a number of African countries, and South Africa being one of those countries where Access South Africa is a big deal. And South African president leading the tribute yesterday said, "We value Access South Africa's support for our investment drive, and we share this terrible loss felt by the management and staff of a flagship African enterprise." Yes, the president of South Africa also paying his tribute to the departed Herbert Wigwe. Of course, the photograph on the front page of this day, one that should break any heart. Yes, Prince Dakwa Abiodun, the governor of Ogun State, they're condoling with Pat Shingle Wigwe, a former director of the Nigerian Television Authority. Of course, before Herbert, there was Shingle, who was a very popular man for his accomplishment in the broadcast industry. Still well alive in his grand old age, hit by this terrible loss of his son, who was a bright star there, taking the family name to the limit, as it were. So Prince Dakwa Abiodun was there, and of course, his business partner, Aigboje Aig Imokwede, there, of course, condoling with Mrs. Wigwe, the mother of the late Herbert Wigwe. Of course, other friends of Herbert thronged the home of Pastor Shingo Wigwe to condole with the family yesterday. Now, if we just look at other stories quickly, on the front page of this day, fresh crisis hits Labour Party. Treasurer accuses national chairman of fraud. Says Abure forged late predecessor signature or dated account to INEC. Yes. Party reacts, says accuser under external influence. Well, can Labour Party just put its acts together? A party that had so much promise after the 2023 presidential election should be more serious with itself and put its acts together ahead of the next election. But what we hear is just these back and forth accusations and counter accusations. But the presidential candidate of the party, Mr. Peter Obi, and just look like the only clean person there now because of these allegations and counter allegations. But again, he's the leader of the party, and I'm sure before long he has to call everybody to order, resolve their differences so that we can have another promising party just beyond the APC and the PDP. I'm sure it was a breath of fresh air to Nigerians that there was a third force that was in the mix, and it showed in the balloting and how people cast their vote. So Labour Party must pull itself together, put its acts together, so that Nigeria can continue to have a viable alternative to APC and PDP. Well, the Punch newspaper, the lead story, Wigwe, federal government, US begins talks as officials test copters wreckage. NTSB relocates chopper's engine, rotor blades, landing gears today. Nigeria to support U.S. team. Abiodun, Dangote, others visit Wigwe, Ogumbanjo families. Late Access Bank CEO kinsmen protest. Well, of course, the news from Isiokbo yesterday was that 7 days mourning has been declared in the homestead of the late Herbert Wigwe. Of course, that in itself a big blow to the community, and the community is mourning the exit, the departure, the demise of a prominent son who has brought succor to many families in the community. But it's a painful loss, not only to the community, but to all who knew Herbert, whether you met him in person or not. His impact touched many lives. Now, the Guardian newspaper, 113.8 million undocumented Nigerians raised doubt on population size. Yes, we're still battling with this idea of conducting an acceptable census in this country. All the figures being bandied, calculation, using theories, oh, we are 200, 120, from 120 to 200 to 220. We need to do a proper census. And census is not rocket science, but in this climb, it's one act we are yet to do and be satisfied, and everybody will agree. But the Guardian reports there reminding one and all that a census still needs to be done. Last year was built for a census, but after all the money spent in preparation, at the last minute, the Buhari administration agreed to postpone the census. Of course, it was very fanciful for the Buhari administration to kick every count down the line for others to take care of business after him. How not to be a leader, if you ask me. Now, the Daily Trust newspaper, there's hardship in the land, says Kanu Emma. Things will get better. President's wife, Nigeria almost becoming Venezuela. PDP governors, labor moles, 1 million naira as new minimum wage. Citizens suffering from Buhari's policies. Oshomole, well, Oshomole was an ardent supporter, a prominent member of the party. In fact, he was party chair when Buhari was president, and he supported every move, defended every move. Today, he's singing a new song. Citizens suffering from Buhari's policy. Well, a very good way to take flight from the problem, even when you were part of the problem. Now, Remi Tinubu, Mrs. Remi Tinubu, Senator Remi Tinubu was in Kano yesterday, where she visited the Emir of Kano. And the Emir of Kano told her, please tell the president people are hungry. There is hardship. If his aides, his handlers have not told him, you, Mrs. Tinubu, you are in a better position to tell him, whether in the sitting room or the other room, as President Buhari will put it. Tell him the people are hungry. And that is a message from the throne. And the Emir should know, because he's a monarch of the people of Kano. Kano was one of the places where people went onto the streets to demonstrate, to tell the president that they are hungry. And some of his handlers and party members said they were being used by opposition. Now that the Emir has re-echoed the message, I hope the message will sink down. New Telegraph newspaper, economic hardship. Nigeria on the road to Venezuela. PDP governors said they are working with APC-led federal government to bring down cost of living. Tell your husband about hunger, starvation in Nigeria. Others. Emir, yes, I refer to that. Emir Bayero tells First Lady, Nigeria's teetering on the brink of unrest. Obi, Buhari's reckless policy responsible for hardship. Oshomole. Well, the PDP governors met yesterday. Of course, they weighed in on the issue of the situation of the economy and insecurity in the land. Well, for the first time, the response from the presidency and presidential spokesman was humbling. Well, Bayo Onanuga was on Arise program yesterday, the Arise, and his response, very unusual, of the Bayo Onanuga of the pre-election days. But the truth is that the reality of governance are setting. Things are not working according to plan. Rufai used to say that they campaign in poetry and govern in prose. So now is the prose time. Reality, you don't need to accuse or just start hurling words at your opponents. Nigerians are hungry. Things are looking down. And that is the situation. But Labour asking or proposing 1 million naira minimum wage, Rufai. Ruben, I don't know how that is. Even the Udoja Award did not go that far. The Udoja Award that caused the most prominent inflation in this country did not go that far. Well, maybe Ajero and company, Ajero and other labor leaders are just testing the waters. But certainly, 1 million naira cannot be minimum wage. Even no matter how, it is not that bad yet. It is not that bad yet. Unless they have something else they know that the rest of us don't know. I don't know where that money is going to come from. Even the 30,000 that was agreed, signed into law as the minimum wage, many states did not pay that as we speak. So talking about 1 million naira as minimum wage, I don't know what the labor leaders are thinking. Perhaps, of course, it's just a starting point. Water will always find its level. When the negotiation, the tripartite negotiation between government, labor, and the organized private sector take place, I'm sure a level will be agreed, and that will be the minimum wage. So all these figures, just testing the waters, I want to believe. Now, if we look at the Blueprint newspaper, Blueprint, Niger retailers, residents, Tobago, enforce move against Kanu, Lagos, Ibadan traders to avoid food crisis. Prices shoot up by 200%. Market authorities blame banditry, fuel subsidy removal for the skyrocketing price of goods. Ruben, Rufai, and Ayo.
Well, we seem to have run out of time, but I think I have an obligation to provide a little clarification about what the NLC president said, because he made that point in the course of a conversation with me on Diesel Live, the Sunday talk show. And he was trying to link, minimum wage to cost of living crisis in Nigeria. And he said 30,000 they've not paid, 35,000 naira they've not paid. The other time they were asking for 200,000 naira. And that if inflation keeps going up, labor will have no obligation other than to ask for more. But will they succeed, with the same government that could not pay 30,000, 35,000, not even 25,000 naira? So he was talking, and I raised the question about wage indexation and how Osita Ikechukwu, that same day, had issued a statement saying it will just drive up inflation. That's what he was responding to. But I see the sensational part about 1 million naira is what has caught the headlines. But in any case, thank you very much.